Hey everybody, welcome back. Some technical difficulties there. The live just stopped, so we're just about to kick off and preview Cheltenham Day 2. So I'm just waiting for James to join us back in from the Irish Racing Media. Really looking forward to it. Anyone fancy anything for today? Anyone that wants to talk about or ask us any questions or anything about any runners in there, just get into the comments. Hopefully James will join us again shortly. But for some reason the video dropped. Yeah, no, it's really hotting up now. It's going to be a fantastic festival, and really looking forward to kicking off. Maybe it's James is the problem, is it? Except, uh, no, here he's back.
I don't know what happened.
No, I don't know myself. The video just ended. So I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know what happened. I was just saying that I was waiting for you to come back in. That there's a bit of technical issues for some reason. It just said video ended. But look, we'll get straight stuck in. We're gonna jump on and preview the 7 days or the seven days, the 7 races for day 2. As I said, we're gonna come on every evening when they declare. So they declare now 48 hours before racing, so 2 days before. So it gives us a better picture, like we know where horses are going now, rather than a lot of them will have multiple entries, but apart from the bigger races, and even some of the bigger races they do. But we're going to preview day 2. But as I was telling everybody, jump into any of our main feeds, Irish Racing Media feed or the Flag to Finish feed or this feed, and you will see last night's live, which previewed day 1's racing. And there's a couple of hours in the handicaps, especially, that are getting well supported. So it's well worth checking out. Look, and as we said last night, it's a bit of fun, so enjoy it. James, how are you?
good. Again.
Yeah, yeah. You were saying you were watching a couple of the cross country schooling today.
Yeah, I think it was Stumptown was school in there, and I was just reflecting on like horses jumping over the fence, the noise of the brush, and the,
Yeah,
the, the hooves off the ground, and
yes.
it was something that you were saying. I was saying to my own mind, instead of watching that now, I'd love to be over there.
I know.
It really would like.
You don't really realize how much you're going to miss it until you see, especially on the Monday when everyone's there. They're doing, like, Fran Berry is doing a lot of interviews there now. You see Danny Mullins chatting away. See, they're out after working horses and they're being interviewed and they're grazing. The horses are there, and you really want to be there. So look, I suppose all we can do is next year be on the plane over and get there.
This, yeah.
Please God, we're all there. But let's kick on. We're going to kick on straight into the action. We're going to go through the 7 races again. It's really it's an intriguing day's race, and on the Wednesday we're going to, as I said, for anyone joining us, we're previewing day 2. Day 1 is in our main feed as a reel, but we're going to kick off with day 2, race 1, which is the Turners 2 mile 5s novice hurdle contest. 22 stayed in this. I didn't realize they were all going to stay in this, but I suppose a lot of the main protagonists that were meant to be here, Mighty Park, there was a lot of money for Talk to Talk. They all went to the Supreme, but the Supreme caught up, like, and now you have you have this race, and like 22 runners is a lot here. Did you think that many were going to stay in this race?
No, but it's a huge field. When I was
Yeah,
looking through it earlier, it was like a jigsaw puzzle.
yeah. Being
You
honest with
know,
you, at a few of the previews I've done, and even my own preview, my own anti-post preview I put out Sunday, I tipped Sober in the Supreme or this race. He was 20s at the time. He's into 6-1 and 5-1 in places now. I've backed him. I've backed him at double figure odds, but I wouldn't back him at 5-1. And a horse I was really looking forward to, if he declared, was Laurel's Destaval. I know he's massive odds. He's around 33-1. He was 50s when I had him wrote down in my notes. I see him winning Thurles in a maiden hurdle coming over. He was second in Limerick after coming over from France, but what he done in Thurles, I thought that day, he won impressively a 17-runner contest by 13 lengths. But the way he finished and powered up the hill in the hands of Paul Townend, and I think at 33-1, look, I back Sober, and I've been telling people to back Sober, but at the prices with this type of a race, you might get an extra place on the day. You never know. Laurel's Esther Val for Willie Mullins in those rich Richie colours, and Brian Hayes takes the mount. But I suppose King Raspo Grey probably brings the best form of the Irish over. You've got Active Innocence for Nicky Henderson, who's not out, but he's 14-1. That'll tell you what type of race it is. It's wide open, the betting here as well. And when you look at it as well, it's as you said, a jigsaw. And have you found the piece of the puzzle for the jigsaw, James?
I I hope so. First one I actually picked was actually the horse Sober. Patrick Mullins ride it for Willie. He's serious platform. He won a grade 2 back in 2023 in Deauville. He's really good platform. He won at Ascot as well. But I'm going to go with a big outsider here now, and I'm going to go for Declan Quealy's horse. I'll sort that for a big each way bet. He won the Ballymore there back in Naas there. It was back in January. And Declan Quealy's riding it. And this horse, he's serious form. And he's not even in the top 5 in the market.
Yeah, but the market is wide open. I suppose no drama this end for Paul Nichols is 4-1. I think he tops the market, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I think, and a lot of people were saying if this horse was trained by Willie Mullins, he'd probably be
one of the favourites.
He'd be 6-1
easily. Yeah,
it was a great story, and like the way he won his grade 1 that day, there was no hiding place. He burnt him off.
I was very impressed by him. What really caught my eye was the more Quealy got stuck into him, the more the horse found. And I think that, you know yourself, that's the kind of horse you need going to Cheltenham. It's going to fight his way up that hill as well. And you can't see this fella being out in the first 4.
Yeah, and he's a fair price. I think he's 16s at the minute.
16s, I think he is, yeah.
But we'll touch on Sober again, because I wouldn't put anyone off it. It's just I've backed him at double figure odds. It's just that I hate when horses are getting smashed like that, when you're tipping them at big prices and then they're like that. But when I was telling people at this previews, he was about 20s or 22s or 25s. Like you touched on his platform. This horse won a maiden hurdle in Killarney. I was there. He then went and won the Queen Alexandra and Royal Ascot and absolutely trounced them. There's not too many horses that can do that. And and you touched in on his platform in France, and then of course he won the last day as well, back over hurdles. I think that was just a pipe opener, but he done that impressively as well. So Sober, for me, was just at the prices at the minute. But look, he's 6-1. There's nothing to be sniffed at. 6-1 winner. Look, I'm going to divide my stake again. I'm going to go with Sober. But Laurel's Esterval, I was really taken by him in hurdles. And you're sticking with I'll sort that.
I'm going to go the same kind of route as yourself. I think Sober could be the one to beat. But for a big price, Declan Quealy's horse, I'll sort that for anyone that's watching that wants to have an each way bet. I think Declan Quealy's horse definitely couldn't rule him out.
Perfect. Right, we'll move on then to what is now the Brown Advisory, is that novice chase, the grade 1 over 3 miles 1. We have 16 declared here. This is another cracking contest. Final Demand, he was top of the market for the last number of weeks, even after getting turned over to the DRF. But he's drifting now. He was 7-2. He's out to 9-2. Cade Dutari 5-1, who trounced him into DRF and has been ultra impressive on his last 2 starts. Like his second last start in Fairyhouse, like he beat some really good runners in there, Wingman and Fishery Lane, by 10 lengths. If you beat Wingman, who I fancy to run well at the festival in one of the handicaps, like by 10 lengths, it's a good yardstick. Final Demand for me, I can't get over last year what he done. He got turned over in the Turners, was it? He was behind a new line. Was that where he got turned over last year?
The new line bet him last year, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't the fact he got beat, it was the fact that the way he finished. Like to me, he looks like he shows a lot, but then when the pressure comes on, sometimes he mightn't back it up when the pressure comes on, you know. And look, he looked very good, but even in Limerick, when he won impressively that grade 1, the Faheen, for me, he didn't look as impressive as it looked, and that was just my eye. And of course, he got turned over to the DRF, but it wasn't even that. He just didn't look like he was going that day at all. Cade Dutari, for me, for Mark Walsh, I think represents absolutely tremendous value at 5-1. I think he's a cracking play each way at 5-1. Cade Dutari.
Touching on Final Demand there, I've been honest. Going to Cheltenham last year, I thought this fellow would have been one of the bankers. of the
Yeah,
week.
he was for me.
I genuinely did. I was disappointed, to be honest. He finished third behind the new line, and he was 4 3/4 lengths behind the Yellow Clay. And the Yellow Clay ran an absolute blinder that day. He was
Mm.
only beaten 3/4 of a length. Uh, his last run, then I just thought, like, no, he wouldn't be for me.
The last run he put in was like the run in Cheltenham, which is alarming. Now maybe he's that out of the
Poor.
way, and if he gets his phone day, look, I think Townend on him, he
But
will make sure there's no hiding space.
yeah,
One that might run his odds is Argento Boy. He's not a bad horse either. He's 33-1 with Danny Mullins in the saddle. If I was to tell anyone to have a euro each way, massive odds I'd be going with Argento Boy. But for me, I think Kate Dutari.
look, when I was looking through this race myself, and I was scratching my head, to be honest. Being
Mm.
completely honest, I was scratching my head about it. But one there, I'd say it's going to be another big price, and it'll be a real fairy tale story altogether. It is Connor King's horse, and his brother Daniel King rides it. Oscar's brother.
Yeah, I
KP
think
McManus only bought it there. Was it on the last 2 or 3 starts?
yeah. It
He's
was
only
actually
last 3 starts over fences. And
yeah.
this fella, I think, look, if Wednesday is not his day, you can be guaranteed there's a huge pot in this horse, and I wouldn't be ruling him out there now to be placed for the form he has. There's another horse in there now, actually, one of the Thyestes. Now is the hour. Gavin Cromwell's horse, Keith Donoghue, rides it. He was probably lucky that day, I think, in the Thyestes. You had Spanish Harlem just unshipped the rider at the last, which is just unfortunate these things happen. But for me in this now, for an each way bet, I'd be going, and I'd love to see it, would be Oscar's brother
It'd be a great story.
for an each way bet. What a story that would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was just talking on that in the preview night the other night. Like Connor King, he's one of the most genuine, soundest lads you'll meet, and of course he was an absolute cracking rider.
Unbelievable.
Oh, he was unbelievable. I think he rode a 4 time as a 5 pound claim or below in Cork one even, and like it was just the way it got him eventually.
Yeah,
But he was some rider, and Daniel King, he is a cracking.
he's
He's
very
probably
good.
underrated.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's
but
rider.
I think this horse is actually after bringing him to new heights, which and showcasing, and it might be getting him into the JP fold as well, which is great. But it'll
Yeah,
be some story like that. He was only purchased after winning a Grade Two, not after only winning a Grade Two, but he won a Grade Two in Punchestown, and he was purchased by JP McManus. And you know yourself, like being purchased by them connections, you wanted to run well, but he was very impressive. That was a Grade Two in Navan again. He came up the hill impressively. I think they're trying to go down the Grand National route, but for it'd be a cracking
yeah,
story.
you're right there.
So
There is, after this, there's a possibility. I think he has to run in this to qualify for the Grand National. Maybe I'm wrong in saying
yeah.
that, but there is talks of him going for the Grand National.
Right, Oscar's brother for you. I'm going to stick with
Each,
Kate.
each way.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kate Atari, and I wouldn't let anyone rule out Argento Boy at a massive odds as well. Okay, we're going to kick straight to one of the easiest races on the card, the Cup, the handicap hurdle. Used to be known as the Coral Cup for years upon years upon years, but it's changed sponsors this year. It's 2 mile 5s, 26 Premier Handicap. Again, you're on about jigsaw puzzles. This is the jigsaw puzzle that you're one of those ones where you don't know if you have the pieces upside down or inside out. But 26 runners here. I had a few that I thought might run and they don't, and I was trying to pick one out there earlier on. The one that I'm going to go with at huge odds again is from the Willie Mullins camp. Sean O'Keefe, your pal rides it. Sean O'Keefe, cracking rider. Sean, festival winning jockey.
Unbelievable, right?
Sonny Bill. Was he a rugby player one time?
I
Anyway,
don't know. He could have been a
he's a
cowboy.
racehorse
No.
now. He's a racehorse now. Anyway, look, this lad he was a French recruit. He was second in a French listed hurdle in Natal, but coming over to Leopardstown making his Irish debut, he was third in the Grade Two at Christmas in 24, so just over a year ago. It was beaten 7 inches by Hello Neighbour. I thought that was a cracking run. He was then 5th of 8 in the Grade 1, and he had 2 runs since. Yeah, I think myself, he's very lightly raced. Look, he needs everything to go right, but I think with the strong run pace in this, he could see this lad coming up the hill, Sonny Bill. Sonny Bill coming up the hill at 33-1.
As you said, Mark, this did he actually finish second in Ascot? But for a big price, I know he won. Was it a Grade 2 in Navan? Not so long ago. He won was it the Lismullen Hurdle?
Yeah, I remember in Navan, but just when you mentioned his name, Lorna Fowler, of course, she's a cracking trainer, I think, and given the ammunition she can put him in front of the lollipop. But when you mentioned Colonel Mustard, for me, I actually looked down again. I'm kind of after missing him really, but when you mentioned him, I was like, geez, he's been running a lot of good graded races.
Yeah, he
So,
has.
and coming into these type of races, like, look, I know that you've 26 runners or whatever, and you will, it does take a lot of beating, and maybe it'll take a graded horse, but coming back into these types of races from running graded races, it can be a bit of an easier task. And John Shinnick, of course, been riding out of his skin.
Yeah, and also for not only us two, but anyone watching and that's going to watch back as well. If you go back through this horse's form as well, right? What has actually won these races? So TFO is one of them. Stairs hurdle winner. Jimmy Desai, Kitchabel, is it? State man twice. What's the other one? Impostoire.
Yeah, they're all Grade 1 winners.
Staffordshire not. The form is there, like, and he's a huge price at, as you said, 33 to 1. That'd be something I'd love to have a couple of each way quid on him on Wednesday. And he always, in fairness, he always runs his heart out. He's probably come up against a better class of horse. But I wouldn't be ruling him out now to run in to the money on Wednesday. And John Shinnick knows him like the back of his hand. So that's a plus as well.
Be great to see it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, right. It's Sonny Bill for me, and it's Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with a knife for James Brennan.
Correct.
Let's kick on into the cross country. You were saying you've seen Stumpstown schooling around. I don't know if it's going to be your selection of the rest. I'll hear your thoughts first, and then I'll give you my selection.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I just love watching this race. The last time I'd say I had a bet was probably Tiger Roll. When Russell won on him. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm just going to sit back and just watch this because I think it's one of the races of the week that's just brilliant to watch. It.
It's a spectacle, like it is a spectacle, like. And it's one of those races that if you're only watching the Cheltenham Festival, like even as a kid, and that when you only start watching it, that if you start watching racing, as I mentioned earlier on, with the way you hear the noise of them when they run, or you hear the noise of them coming out over hurdles or fences, to watch one of these races, you'll be captivated by it.
Yeah, it's one of the races of the week. I really, obviously, everyone, the Gold Cup, the Champion Hurdle, you have your Queen Mother Chase. They're brilliant races, but this is like for someone that's never watched racing, or that might just watch Cheltenham. I would highly recommend watch this race because how the jockeys get around sometimes. You nearly want to sat nav on the horse to get their way around.
I was going to say, I was about to ask you. I goes, you were a jockey in your day.
I don't know about that now.
Yeah, but you are, like, you had a jockey's license. You rode in races, like you've done a lot more than 95% of the world when it comes to racing. How would you ride in this? How would you remember where you are?
Walk the track.
Yeah.
Walk the track. But if I was riding in this race now, what I would do is, obviously you're going to be over in Cheltenham. So what I would be doing is I'd be walking track after riding out in the morning. If it was only the one ride I had, I'd probably go out early in the day again. I'd walk around the track again and just get the feel of it. See what the ground is riding like, where your fences are, where you're turning. You know, like any other jockey would do the same, like, you know, that's not me being smart, like.
Yeah.
But there is some lads here now that would ride around here with their eyes closed.
Yeah.
And they're just brilliant to watch. And the perfect example is Keith Donoghue.
He rides it like...
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, Keith Donahue, he'd be a big man for going out hunting. Like that's
Yeah.
what he loved. Yeah, so like any of those lads that are involved that really love the horse racing game and the national hunt side of it, like for him, this is probably his main. Like, look, you obviously you want to be winning grade ones and that, but I'd say he gets some buzz out of
Oh,
riding them
I'd say
fences.
so. 100.
Yeah.
I'd say definitely. I'd say yeah.
So
But as you were asking me, I'd go with the favourite, Gordon Elliott's horse. Uh, won the Glenfarclas class cross country back in January. As I said, this race for me now, I'm just going to sit back, put the feet up, take it all in, watch it, enjoy it. But if I was to have a bet on it, I'd side with Favori de Chambeau,
okay.
Gordon Elliott and Jack Kennedy. It's going off as favourite there.
Okay, and look, it is a spectacle of a race for me, and it's a fun race to watch. And for a fun race, I'm going to have a fun bet. And this one is going to go with an old favourite of mine, Fakadu Dari. He's 11-year-old now, I know it, but he's trained by Inda Bulger. People need to remember, Inda Bulger was the king of these type of races back in the day. You know,
Yeah.
you remember the late great John Thomas McNamara in those colours, and Nina Carberry, like the two of them. I don't know how many winners he's trained over the bank races, especially in Punchestown and that. But in the Bulger used to farm this race one time, and it was his race. And
Yeah.
he's got a schooling ground down there, Banks I think as well down there, and that like so. And you see a lot of the older horses sometimes, and this horse, he's a multiple Grade One winner back in the day. He's been at the festival 3 or 4 times. He was fourth in the Supreme. He was second in an Arkle. He was second in a Ryanair. You know, he was fourth or fifth in a Gold Cup. So I'd love to see him, and he was a real fan favourite of mine. I used to love tipping him up, and he used to give his all. He used to be in training with Joseph back then, but he still runs in the JP's colours. He's an 11-year-old now, but for me, I think if this lad can start enjoying himself and coming out in the budget yard, he will be having fun over here.
Yeah.
I think if he takes to these fences, I think he at 25-1, I think he could give you a bit of a run for your money. Fakadu Darius.
Darrow Keefe rides him, I think, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's an interesting jockey booking.
Yeah.
He's 10-7. I'd imagine I thought of the preview night because I didn't know what weight he was going to have, and I was like, keep an eye on the jockey bookings because I said Mark Walsh probably won't ride him, and then I was like, maybe Mark will, being his last year in the McMahon of Silks. Well, maybe it's not his last year in him, but with Harry taking the job. But I thought Derek O'Connor might come for the ride, but I imagine Derek probably wouldn't do under 11 stone, would he?
They certainly wouldn't do 10-7, I'd say.
No. So that was interesting there, but you'd imagine it's a rare outing for Darragh O'Keefe to be riding for JP,
Yeah.
and like
It's not too often you see it.
a big a fan of I am a Darragh O'Keefe. He is some rider, so I think this lad look at 25-1 have a very small bet each way. On him.
Yeah. And just as you touched on as well, Mark. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole thing or that, but Martin Braswell has a horse in this. Is Desert Moor House. Ricky Doyle rides it. Now, Martin Braswell knows the time of day, but a lot more. I'm not saying a lot more than anyone, but he knows the time of day. And this horse, I actually saw it winning in Dama House in the Point to Point. Finney Maguire rode it. Yeah, I think he actually ran. He could have. He went straight to the banks. I think after that to Punchestown after that run, and he won.
Okay.
He was pulled up the last day, but I think he won at Punchestown. He was pulled up in Leopardstown, and he won at Dama House at Point to Point back in November. He's actually about 4-1. But we all know what Martin Braswell will do, and he can certainly produce him. This could be a horse could upset it too. You wouldn't know. Like I'd say Ricky Doyle get a right tune out of him as well.
Yeah, he's a good rider, Ricky Doyle.
He's a serious rider.
Yeah. Right, we'll move on from the cross country. We go straight to the feature race, the Queen Mother Champion Chase. Of course, this race back in the day has been won down with some of the greats, and it's one of those races. In recent years, you had Altior winning two. You're going to me, put the kettle on, spoiling the party with Hayden Coleman in the saddle. I remember Mastermind winning this Moscow Flyer like new mill for John Murphy back then.
Andrew
Moscow Flyer
McNamara,
coming back,
wasn't it?
Azurti at top. They were household names. They were real. real household names. Have we got one in here this year? Maybe if Marsborough goes and does what he done at the DRF, 4 to 5 for me. I just think once he jumps around and doesn't make any mistakes, he wins, and that's the key here. Is to they'll put the pressure on him. He won't have it too easy. I was so when Marine Nationale was staying in, I gave Colixias as my each way selection. He was into sevens during the week after Marine Nationale was an on-runner. Nines, probably still a bit too short. At 25s, I thought he was way overpriced. He was running a cracker. The last time we seen him was running this race where he fell. I think he could have put it up to Marine Nationale on the day. He runs well at here. He's won at the festival. Colixias, look, he's still only 9. He don't have a whole lot miles on the clock. And I just think coming fresh will suit him. The thing here for me is Henry de Bromhead's runners. You'd be hoping you'd be gauging after the first few runners what way they are. But if these horses are running well, I would say it's Calixios for the each way. But for me, Marsborough will win and win impressively.
I'd be with Marsborough as well. Look, I thought he was very impressive the last day. This will show you how good Mark Welch really is. And Willie Mullen said it after he won, that Mark Welch had said, put the cheek pieces on him.
Yeah.
And they put the cheek pieces on him, and I actually thought, I said, right, this could either go high in the sky or low as they can go. And it was the complete opposite. Now, don't get me wrong, Marine Nationale was he finished third that day, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ground.
He never handled the ground. From the off, even as soon as he jumped off, he never even handled it. He actually ran a cracker to finish where he did. But for me, I think Marsborough in this is the winner. You look back through his form as well. Even when he ran in Cork, he made a couple of mistakes. He ran fairly keen as well. But he's never been beaten more than 2 to 3 lengths.
He's running the Arca. Like, I was there at that fence where he made a mistake last year. I was there at it. Like, and for a horse to finish out close, he wasn't even beating a length back in third in the Arca. It was fair to recover from that. Like, so look, he can't make mistakes in the champion chase like that either. I just think though that at 4 to 5, if this lad doesn't make a mistake, I think he's a 1 to 2 shot.
Yeah, he's the one to beat.
Yeah.
But if I was having an each way bet, I'd love to see Elaine Holmes do something, but I don't know, does he handle Cheltenham? And maybe I could be completely wrong. But a horse there now, he's about 12 to 1. Is Irish Panther for Eddie Harty. And he finished behind Romeo Coolio at Leopardstown at Christmas. And he was very unlucky. His owner, part owner is Brian Whelan. Give him a shout out there if he's watching. He owns Birmingham Cameras.
Oh yeah. You see them, yeah. Yeah. Is Chris Hayes sponsored by you?
Chris Hayes is sponsored by Birmingham Cameras. That's Brian Whelan's. Yeah. And he also sponsors Harty Racing as well, the yard.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
And if he wants to sponsor Flag to Finish Race, he wins this. We're open to offers.
Yeah, but he loves his racing, and he loves his racing, and he actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he rode in the Corinthian Challenge last year. Actually, a horse of his own. But like Patrick and Eddie Harty trained this horse, and you'll probably agree with me now. I reckon they know the time of day as well.
Yeah, they should.
And they've had a nice Cheltenham winner there a good few years ago. Was Captain Seaby.
Yeah.
So they know what it takes to bring a horse there, and he hasn't been seen.
Patrick staying on the license though, that would have been Eddie's, wouldn't it? But like,
it would have been Eddie Harty.
Yeah, but now you have Father and son combined here. Yeah.
So I would go with Irish Panther for a big each way bet. I'd love. Look, I don't think he's going to beat Marsborough, but I'd love for that chap Brian and whoever else owns it as well to have that buzz that, you know, like someone that like they're paying bills as owners, and they're in there with JP McManus and all their top owners, and like they're going over. Obviously, they're going to enjoy it, and I wish them all the best with it. And I hope he runs an absolute blinder at a price of 12 to 1.
Yeah,
Irish Panther.
Irish Panther. Lovely. Right, we're going to the Johnny Henderson, the Grand Annual. It used to be the final race of the meeting. Now it's the sixth race of the second day
Yep.
for some reason. Anyway, look, it's a chase over just under shy. It's 2 miles. 22 declared. I was saying it was a race maybe one or two selected in, but for me, Calico, when I was seeing when they were narrowing it down for Dan Skelton's, he was the interesting one for me. I think he's very good course form. I was wondering were they going to claim off it when I seen what weight he was going to get, and I was thinking they might use Tristan Durrell, who's their claimer. But
He can ride it.
yeah, he's down to ride it, but he doesn't have to still claim three, so he must have lost the claim.
He must have lost the claim. Yeah.
Yeah, now look, if you go back through this lad's form, I think it's cracking form. Um, he's, he's chases, he's 5 winners, but like he's won two of his last three starts. He was fourth in the grade two behind Lumbala the last day. That Harry rode it, but Tristan gets on very well with this lad, and I just think back in handicap company around here, as I said, he's won around the track twice. Knows the time of day of the track. It's very good. It's for me. It's a lot course form, and Calico. He's around 16s or 20s. You're going to get 5 places in the race. For me, I think it represents good value each way.
And I'm actually going to go with Skelton's other horse, Be Aware.
Yeah, he's talking horse, isn't he?
He's finished second the last time in the grade two, and before that he finished. Now, bear in mind he was beating a good few lengths. He was beating about 9 lengths or that to the Lamba. He's going to go off favourite, I'd say. He's favourite here. Well, I was just looking back to his last two runs. That was again. It's another one there. Like as I said, it's like a jigsaw. There's a lot of horses in here with good form. But when I just saw the graded form with him, I thought, right, come back into a Premier Handicap. From a grade two back to a Premier Handicap, he was my pick. It was Be Aware for Harry and Dan Skelton.
All right. And again, we will go to another easy puzzle to follow, or to find a winner of the bumper. This race is always a minefield to find a winner. Thankfully, I'm lucky enough in the race for some reason. Just so happens I am lucky because it can be a lottery, because you have a lot of these ones that have looked impressively. They've won first time out. They might have only the one start. They might have only two starts.
Yeah.
But all in all, anything you're really going on eye with a lot of them. They meet each other in the graded race, the Dublin Racing Festival or that. But for me, the one that caught my eye, in those bumpers making, their winning debuts at bumpers, and that was, for me, it was one of Willie's. It was the Irish Avatar. He Gigginstown runner. He was second in a pint to pint, but obviously he was poor. They gave 200 grand for him in Tatterstalls, and I thought in Navan, and I really love Navan form, especially for novices coming here. I just thought he was really impressive to the eye. Paddy obviously rode it that day, but it's Harry Cobden takes the ride, which is eye catching.
Yeah.
Now I know your Danny, your Paul Town, and your Paddy. Paddy's meant to have choice of these,
Yeah.
off the bat, and then obviously be Paul and that. And they obviously can be working different at home from when they've won the races, and he knows how they feel, even if they don't win or win as impressive as they look. He'll know how they feel. Even something might win 10 lengths, but something that wins 2 lengths might give him a better feel, or might have beat a better type of a horse.
Yeah.
But for me, the Irish Avatar caught my eye that day, and I think he was 9 to 1 for a majority of the time. He shortened there over the week. But now Harry Cobden's on him. I think he's around 8 to 1. I think he's the one for me each way, the Irish Avatar.
Yeah.
The one I would give a shout out to, I'm not going to have a bet in him, is
I usually guess.
Moon Veron for the Hassets.
Oh, sorry. I was wrong. I thought you were going to say Colin Keane riding for No Lead.
Oh yeah, I actually, do you know what? I thought maybe he could run a race too if you watch back his race in Leopardstown. All these you can give a case for because it looks super impressive.
Yeah.
But I think that the Hassets, this is a really good story. The owner of this horse, I've never met the man, but by all accounts, he's an absolute gentleman. And you know, I think he spread him. They were offered. Look, you'd hear whispers a lot of money for him after he win. He was second on debut, and then went to Cork and won impressively. They were offered a lot of money after that, and they went to Leopardstown then at the DRF and won that bumper. Now it might have been a little bit unlucky because that was a race where the rider mistaken the winning post, and
Ryan Hillsborough was the name of the horse.
yeah, was that a great? That was the grade two, wasn't it?
That was
The Coolmore one, the Coolmore National Hunt Sires grade two.
it was actually, yeah, it was.
Yeah, and look, he won. But he still won. He's a grade two winner. And if he didn't win, he wouldn't have been too far away. Like even if he was beat. I actually think this lad, he shouldn't have won on the day. But if you watched, if he didn't win on the day, I think he would have been the best horse in the race. If you look back, because he gave out the way he ran, I would have picked him to beat the winner again the next time if you watch it back. So I don't think he's without a chance, Moonvern. And the other one too that I hope runs well is Our Trigger. The Bronson Racing, they're a great bunch. They lost one there a couple of months ago, a real good horse, the horse that won the Galway Hurdle a couple of starts back. New Burgering, he was actually placed in Royal Ascot as well because it was a race that Billy won when I was over there on Ascendant for Henry de Bromhead. They lost one, but then look, and he was a big loss to them, and it affected them because he was one of their favourite horses, and you know how these owners get a connection. Anyone does when they're involved, when they own one. But Solness then went and won a grade one, and look, it gave him a bit of a lift. I think myself there was something in the air, but they've had a couple of debutant winners of late, and Our Trigger won a bumper and Gorn. Look, I'm harping on too much about bumper now. For me, the Irish Avatar is my selection, James.
My selection was actually a horse of Gordon Elliott, Broadway Head. They won at the DRF there the second day, which should have been the first day. Barry O'Neill rode it that day. He was a huge outsider. He was about 14 to 1 that day. But he's after winning his last start. That'll be one for me. Just touching on there what you said about the Hassett horse. The day that horse actually won, it was the following day. I think they had lost the horse as well. Like so.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like it's racing, but it's not nice to see. Like and wouldn't something like this be a great story and really give him a lift?
Even winning that was a huge lift.
Yeah. Well, no, that was the day before.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
It was the day before.
Yeah, but that can show you the highs to the lows then.
Well, that's it too. Like, but I'd love to see him running an absolute blinder.
Yeah.
A serious pilot on board as well, Vinnie Maguire.
Yeah.
Well, if I was going to have a bet in this, I probably, I probably won't go near it. I'd probably go with Gordon Elliott's horse, Broadway Head, and Sean Bowen picks up the ride on this.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jockey running Sean Bowen, of course, he picks up some of these rides. He rides a lot of them in Perth for Gordon when they come over, and picked up some rides in DRF as well. So it's interesting they're using him, and why wouldn't they? Like he is, the champion and the champion elect. Yeah, but I was really sweet on the Irish Avatar. I think if he comes and shows what he done on debut here, I think and improves off it, which they should do. I think this lad could be a real player, the Irish Avatar, and Eric Cobden, cracking jockey.
Yeah.
All right, so we went through the 7 races. Hopefully we've touched on a few winners. Again, look, I'm doing this off my personal page. The numbers are growing over on Flag to Finish Racing. So anyone that's tuning in here, if you can go over and follow Flag to Finish Racing, it'll be immensely appreciated. And anyone that's watching here from my page, follow James Brennan's Irish Racing Media. There's some great content coming from that page for during the year. We're going to do hopefully a few things together during the year as well. But look, we're just talking about Cheltenham now. We've day 2 in the bag. James, we'll leave it there.
Yep.
What race are you most looking forward to looking on the second day? Which race stands out to you?
Ooh, I'm looking forward to the cross country chase.
Okay.
So I always like it. It's no matter if you have an odds on favour or whatever. It's the whole buzz of it, and it's like as we said from the start of the video, it has everything. That for me, obviously the champion chase. It would have been nice to see Marine National running, but look, unfortunately he doesn't. Like, I think it would have made it a lot more wide open. I think had he gone there, I think he would have definitely put it up to Masborough as well. But look, for me, I'll probably sit back, watch the cross country chase.
I know what I'm doing there now that I pause it. I'm hoping that Sober does the business as I'm back to, as I said, a double figure odd, so I'm a bit biased with that. Also, Loretta's Esteval. I'm really looking forward to that turners, even though it's a puzzle. 22 runners, I think there could be some nice ones even to come out of there. They are beaten. Really looking forward to the champion chase. Yeah, I think the champion chase to stand out for me. I think if Marsburg goes and puts on a performance, we could see a real superstar.
Yeah. He's the
Right.
one to beat.
We'll leave it there, James.
Yeah. No matter, Mark.
And we shall talk tomorrow evening. Of course, tomorrow evening we're going to preview day 3, but also on that we'll be after witnessing day 1's action, and we can't wait to recap some hopefully
right,
interesting
see who's
stories.
wrong.
Wait.
See who's right and see who's wrong.
Yeah, look, but
It's a bit of crack, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Like, and look, again, bet and enjoy it, have fun. Don't have to bet in every race, and yeah, we'll see everyone at the finish line. I've been Mark Fanning, and you've been
James Brennan.
Good night.
See you, Mark.
Good night, James.
Good luck.